You stopped it?
So what was Palmetto like that first year?
So that first year was 10th grade. And I played JV that first year for 10th grade. So I showed up to training camp for JV football really late because that year my family had decided to take a cruise on Carnival Cruise Lines towards the end of August when camp was going on.
They can wait till June or July. They can do it in June or July.
That's what I'm saying. So it was either stay home and do football practice, stay by our grandmother's house and do football practice there, or go on a cruise. I'm about to go on this cruise.
Oh, for real.
So I went on the cruise. So I went on the cruise. I came back like a week and a half later. All my friends from 9th grade from Palmetto Middle, they're already in pads, like practicing, hitting, doing this. They already have starting lineups already because there's a week in the practice. They can already see who can play, who can hit, who can't hit, who's fast, who's not fast. So I'm late into the picture. So I get there. And in my mind, I already knew what I wanted to play. I wanted to play safety going forward because I had played safety in 140s. I wanted to play safety going forward.
Yeah.
So I go to the first day of practice. One of the coaches was just like, "Yo, you look like a safety." I'm like, "Yeah, dude. I play safety." So I went to, I started practice, the first 3 days with no pads on, played safety. And then once I finally put on the pads, man, it was time to wreck shop. I was out there hitting, smashing, like covering. It was pretty exciting, man. Like playing safety.
Yeah.
So and for me, at that point, like I said, that 9th grade year off did two things for me. It hampered my development as a football player and learning coverages and learning more about the game, one. And two, it took my focus away from what I ultimately wanted to do, which is play football. But to play football, you got to have good grades. So those two things, I wasn't focused on those two things. So by 10th grade year, one, as far as being knowledgeable about the game of football, I was lacking behind as far as in coverages. And two, my grades wasn't good, so I couldn't play. So I literally just practiced with the team like the first 5 weeks during the regular season. And then finally I just said, you know what, man, I'm just gonna stop practicing and realize I made a mistake. Let me bust my ass to get, to get these good grades so I can play my 11th grade year. So if you're looking back on it, if you think about it, I didn't play in 9th or 10th grade, and I say that goes back to why the decision of my parents saying, you know what, let's go, not to Killian District, not to Southridge District, but to Miami Palmetto District. And I didn't play football for 2 years after that, organize games, football for 2 years after that. So my development was hampered. My recruitment for colleges was hampered. All these different things kind of fell back because I know for a fact by 10th grade year, I would have been starting or getting playing time. You know what I'm saying? I would have been getting at least playing time my 10th grade year at Killian or Southridge, at least playing. I wouldn't have been starting, but I probably would have been getting some snaps. You know what I mean? Like in a blowout win, let's throw him in there. Yeah. Let me get some time. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me get some PT. Mm-hmm. So during practice, safety, trying to understand coverages, cover 3, check the 3, cover 2. So all these things were new to me. I didn't know any of this stuff. So I kind of struggled with that a little bit. And then finally one day, I guess the coach must have got upset because I was still struggling with the coverages. Now I know coverages now because I just learned differently. Everybody learns differently. But he just was just like, you know what? You're playing linebacker now. And he moved me to outside linebacker. So the season, I played JV, I practiced, the season ended, and going into my junior year, it was, okay, they had me a linebacker, but I really want to play safety. I want to play safety for my junior year. I'm going to play safety. I'm big, I'm fast, I'm strong enough to play safety. I feel like I'm the perfect size to go Division I for safety as I develop more. I felt even now, even when I eventually got to college, I had the prototypical Division I safety size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So 9th and 10th grade year, you didn't play any games of football.
Nah.
That's crazy.
At all.
Oh, man, so we're gonna go on to 11th grade. You still at Palmetto. Were you finally able to get on the field?
So 11th grade year, going in, spring practice, going in, want to play safety. I go in to get fitted pads. They're like, "Oh, you're playing linebacker." So I always say this. So I say all this to say, now knowing my children, knowing my two boys, if they want to play football or they want to play basketball, and they tell me what position they want to play, I'm gonna go and fight for them. I'm gonna ask them, what position do you want to play? Because I'm not gonna have a coach put them in a wrong position for them not to be successful. So for me, the position for me to be successful, I felt like was safety, but I had to play linebacker. So, but I was happy. I was eligible. I was able to play. I figured, you know what, I might as well just play. So I played linebacker my junior year. I played, but I didn't play because my junior year, we had a senior playing linebacker, a middle linebacker. He was a 3-year starter. His name was Gore Travaris, who was a beast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, Corey Collier played at Florida State in the late 90s, early 2000s. And his son currently plays safety for the Florida Gators, Corey Collier Jr. That's crazy. So what was it like playing with Corey Collier Sr.?
I mean, just domination. Like, he was bigger than everybody else. He was bigger than everybody else. He was faster than everybody else. He was stronger than everybody else. He was quicker than everybody else. He was just, I mean, he was like 6'2", about 6'2", about 230.
Goodness
like,
gracious.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably bench pressing probably like 360 in high school, 350, 360, squatting like 500 pounds. Like, he was just a straight beast. Like, no lie, like, he was such a dominating player my junior year in high school. He literally would like lead games with like 30 tackles. And we would make jokes, like, if we won the game, we would make jokes like on the bus ride and saying like, "Yo, I saw so-and-so made a tackle," but then nonsense was like Corey Collier on the tackle. Like, he was nowhere to be found. He was on the sideline, but they still crediting him tackles. How is that possible?
Yeah.
But that goes to show you the mystique he had, the domination he had as a linebacker. He was a monster, man. He was cold. For me, up close and personal, that's probably the best football player I've ever played with.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's probably the best football player I've ever played with. Just to see how much bigger and stronger and mature he was than everybody else. And you kind of get to see, I would say, looking at him, you kind of get to see how players are like built for the NFL. He was built for Division I football. He was built for the NFL. Now, it didn't work out, but you can say, like, yeah, some people are blessed with these physical gifts that make them, okay, I can see him playing in the NFL. He was blessed with these physical tools, with these physical gifts to be, ridiculously strong. But that 10th grade, but Palmetto, looking back on it, historically, Palmetto had a good team historically, off and on, through the 90s. My 10th grade year, the year when I didn't play on JV, the varsity squad that year was really good. They made it to the playoffs. We had two guys that year that actually ended up going Division I. One guy played with the Broncos and the Houston Texans for a little while. His name is Cecil Sapp. He played running back for us. Yeah, I want to say he led the county in rushing that year. That must have been 97. Yeah, 97. He led the county in rushing, Cecil Sapp. Yeah. And then we had an offensive lineman that year too named Nick Bennett that actually went Division I too as well. He signed with Colorado State. They both signed with Colorado State out of high school. Okay. Yeah, Nick Bennett, I don't think he ever made it in Colorado State. I think he may have just been like a backup. But Cecil Sapp, he was a star for Colorado State. Yeah. Ended up going to the Broncos. I want to say he played like 7-8 years. Yeah, he played fullback on it, but he was still pretty good. Fullback. Yeah, he played fullback. He used to be really good. Yeah. And Cecil, man, he was huge in high school. He was big. Yeah. He was in high school, he may have been maybe 5'11", like 215, 220. Just rocked up. He was like an NFL running back in high school. He was like an NFL running back in high school. He even dressed like an NFL running back. Hit the gloves. He had the elbow pads.
Yeah.
He had the mouthpiece with the lip guard. Like, and he had number 32.
Oh wow. So yeah. So that 11th grade year, you said you didn't play that much, right?
Yeah, didn't play that much.
So do you remember which games you did play and which teams you played?
So for me, that 11th grade year, I want to say I may have played the ending part of a South Ridge game, ending part of like a Homestead game, but I barely ever played because it was Corey's senior season. So, and I backed up middle linebacker. So it was Corey's senior season. So they really wanted to pub him up because I mean, he was really good. You know what I mean? We wanted him to do really, really well. And he did really, really well. But his senior season, my junior year, we didn't play as well as we did his junior season because he went to the playoffs that year, and they ended up playing my sophomore year. They ended up playing Miami High in the second round of the playoffs, led by Andre.
Your sophomore year?
My sophomore year when I didn't play.
Yeah.
Palmetto. They ended up playing Miami High, led by Andre Johnson. Yeah, he gave them problems. Gave them problems. Gave them major problems.
Oh man.
So yeah, and I want to say too that 10th grade year too as well, because I wasn't eligible, so I was part of the chain gang for like games where the teams they would have to bring like their own like chain gang to do the chains and whatnot. So it would always be like JV players.
Yeah.
So that year I also did the Coral Park game, Palmetto versus Coral Park, when we were good that year, my 10th grade year. And Coral Park that year had three players I think that were really, really good. One player was a quarterback because they ran like a spread game, so they passed the ball a lot.
Yeah.
They had one player who was a quarterback. He was really, really good. He ended up going D1. I want to say Cincinnati. They had a running back who was Cole. He ended up going, I want to say, to Western Michigan. He was really good. And then they had a DB and / wide receiver that was Cole. And it was just like, he's in Coral Park. Coral Park is like in an area where they're not really good in football. They're really good in like soccer or like baseball or something like that, but never really football. And he was Cole. His name was Travaris Robinson. He ended up going to Auburn.
Yeah. Travaris Robinson. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Travaris Robinson, people that don't know, he's one of like the best DB coaches in college football right now. He's currently DB coach at University of Miami. He's put like probably like 20, 30 players in the NFL by himself. Like he's like,
I know.
He's like really good DB coach. So yeah,
really good DB coach. And looking back at it now, I was looking, because I'm still into college football. So through the years, like the past 10 years, I've been looking at rosters and looking at coaching staffs, and I'll always see his name pop up. I'm like, yo, I remember that guy. He's like, oh, he's a DB coach.
Yeah.
Oh, he's defensive coordinator now. He's DC now. I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
He's coaching the Atlanta Falcons now. Like, it amazes me, and it's just like, yo, I saw this guy playing in high school football where he was really, really good. So we played against some my 10th grade year and my junior year. We played against a bunch of teams that had a lot of good talent. And my junior year, I didn't play, like I said, because of Corey Collier. He was a beast. Didn't play at all.
Yeah. So before we get to your 12th grade year, in the middle of all this, what was your recruitment like? What was the recruiting process like for you?
I didn't have any. And 11th grade is very important. You know what I mean?
That's like the most important year.
That's the most important year. I didn't have any. I didn't play. I know for a fact, my 11th grade year, I would have played a lot more if I would have went to Gillian or South Ridge. I would have played a lot more.
Yeah.
And even I would have played a lot more. And even at that point, at the end of my 11th grade year, I really wanted to transfer. I really wanted to leave Palmetto. I really wanted to leave and go to Killian or South Ridge. Because even up until that point, I was still like, I don't want to play here, man. I don't want to play here. Like, I don't like it here. The team's not good. You know what I mean? I'm not playing. So yeah, it was so many different factors, man. Looking back on it, you know what I mean? Because then on JV, I would see guys I played with, and I would see guys I played with in Pop Warner. They out there balling on the JV team against our team on JV when I couldn't play. And coming full circle back to Sean Taylor, my JV year, my 10th grade year, Sean was a freshman at that point at Killian. And I remember them at Killian coming to Palmetto and them just destroying us. And Sean Taylor, I think he played like linebacker and running back and safety. And man, I think they beat us like 50-0, the JV squad. Yeah, man, it was really bad. And seeing all that, and I was just like, man, I'm not having any fun there because I'm not playing the position I want to play. So why even stay here? And I also felt too like there was, I just didn't like it, I just didn't. And looking back, like I said, I should have told my parents, hey, I don't want to play here. I want to leave the school. I want to transfer out. Yeah. Because I really think if I would have told them, they would have let me transfer. They would have told me, okay, you can go to Southridge and see, you know what I mean? But hey, the cards fall where they be,
Yeah. So 12th grade year, let's fast forward. What was 12th grade year like for you?
So 12th grade year. So my junior season ended, and in December at Christmas, I thought hard about transferring because you have to transfer a semester before your senior season for football. Yeah. So I thought long and hard about, okay, I'm transferring. After my junior year ended, I said in my mind, yeah, I'm transferring. I'm done.
Boy, things change so much because nowadays kids will transfer in the middle of the season and play for a different team next week.
Yeah, I didn't really.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like there was a kid that played for Gulliver, and the next week he played for Central.
That's hilarious.
Shit is crazy these days.
That's hilarious. So yeah, I thought long and hard, and I had friends who went to Southridge. Family friends. They played JV. They didn't play varsity, but they always tell me about Southridge and Goo. You should come play. You should come play for Southridge. You should come. Be good. Trust me, you'll be good. You should come. And I really thought long and hard about telling mom and dad, like, yo, I want to transfer. I don't want to play at Palmetto anymore. I want to transfer to Southridge because I feel like they're gonna put me in the correct position to play, and I feel like I'm gonna have the opportunity to showcase my skills and be able to get into college. You know what I mean? I didn't tell them I wanted to transfer. That's why now I tell my kids now, my two boys and my daughter, when she's able to talk and able to, move around, I'm going to tell them, hey, let us know how you're feeling at all times. If you like the school, if you don't like the school, if you're playing sports, do you like this coach? Do you think the coach is treating you fairly? Do you think there's favoritism? Do you think this? Do you think that? Like, I need to know because I can't help you if you don't tell me.
You got to listen to your child.
Yeah.
So
I stayed. So I ended up staying at Palmetto for my senior year. I didn't transfer, and then going into spring, I still said to myself, I should play safety. I really want to play safety. The linebackers coach came up to me during a morning. And for me, I was just like, well, if I don't play safety, my fallback is going to be, okay, well, I'm going to play middle linebacker. That's fine. I can play middle linebacker. You know what I mean? I already have the weight. I have the speed. I'm really strong. I'm not that tall, but I feel like I can go, if I'm able to get into college, it won't be a major Division I, but it would be a Division I where I can go to school for free and get a free education. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, I can play middle linebacker, get a free education, at a smaller Division I school. And walking into school one day, the linebacker coach is just like, oh, we don't want you to play middle. We want you to play strong side linebacker. And I'm just like, wait, what?
What?
Hold on. I spent all last year on the bench, not playing at all, because we had this blue chip recruit in front of me, Gore Travaris, who I totally agree. He should have been playing.
Yeah.
But I paid my dues knowing that he has to play because he's a beast and we need him because he's our best player.
Yeah.
I'm fine by that. But now my senior year is my time to shine at middle linebacker. And for you to tell me, hey, you're going to be playing Sam, to not even have a position battle, just give it to somebody else. So we didn't even battle. We just gave it to somebody else. I'm just like, wait, what? So I said, okay, you know what? In my mind, I said, too, damn, I'm stuck now already because it's spring now. I'm stuck. I can't do anything. So I'm gonna just shut my mouth and play the strong side backer. I'm gonna just shut my mouth and play the strong side backer.
Yeah.
So going in the spring, balling, smashing, hitting, all kinds of things. Smashing, hitting, whatever. But the final week of spring practice before the spring game, I make a tackle and I hurt my shoulder. So I had to spend like a few days recovering from my shoulder, and they put in some other linebacker at strong side who was nowhere near as good as me. They had him start the spring game. I had recovered by that time to play in the spring game. And if you look at the spring game tape, the spring game is actually our spring game is actually on YouTube right now. It really is. I don't know who's recruiting these. I don't know who's putting up these old games on YouTube. But if you YouTube Palmetto Killian spring game 1999, you'll see like, oh wow, this is a game on here. And you can see my team. You can see us playing Killian, and you can see me in the second quarter getting to the game and play. I was number 53. You'll see me come to the game and you'll see me play. But so going to the spring game, they put the other guy in. And if you watch that game, I'm not even going to say, just watch the game and see what the player who's playing my position, see what he's doing. And you will see how he's getting outran to the outside, how he's getting demolished, how he's getting blocked, how he got cracked on, how he got ran over, all these different things. And this guy is still playing in the game. Like,
do you remember his name? Let's put him on blast.
I don't remember his name. I think he was an outside linebacker. I think he's number 47.
Mm-hmm.
He played outside linebacker. I think he was 47. I'm not sure. I think he was 47. But looking back at that film, and it's just like, if you see it now to this day, you'll be like, why is this guy still in the game? Like, why is he still playing? Like, don't they have somebody else? Because Killian keeps on getting the edge. This guy's getting demolished. He's getting blocked. He keep on getting the edge till this day. And I finally got in the game in the second quarter, and I played like 5 plays. And right when I was getting my groove to play, they took me out the game, and I didn't play no more.
Oh man!
And in those 5 plays I played, I had a tackle, and the other 4 plays was just like runs to the other side. So it's just like, well, damn, I never really got to show what I could do. You know what I mean? I didn't get to show what I can do. So that was the spring game, and then going into summer, working out summer conditioning and whatnot, doing all that. Spring, summer camp comes up. Balling an outside linebacker, balling Sam. You know, like I said, going back to the whole spring thing, I'm playing Sam. Like you didn't even let me and the guy who eventually played middle. You didn't even let me and him battle. You just gave it to the guy. So are you really feeling the best team if you just gave it to somebody and didn't let that other guy battle someone, and then the person who lost that position put them to the outside?
Yeah.
Which is how it should be in a meritocracy. You know what I mean? Like the best player, you don't give it to someone. The best player wins the job. I thought that was the best player. And I would say my history, looking back on my football career, I think my history played out, looking at it, like I really was the best player because of where I went. Going into my senior year, I was starting during camp, and I hurt my shoulder again.
Oh goodness.
So yeah, I was starting strong side linebacker, hurt my shoulder again, and I was on the bench, man, for like 6-7 games my senior season. Didn't sniff the field, bro.
Dang.
Yeah, bad taste in your mouth, right?
Oh my God. So your high school career basically just like went in the toilet.
Total toilet.
So
that's why I said Palmetto for me. Playing Palmetto for me, playing football at Palmetto High School, for me, looking back on it, was the worst decision in football. From being injured, to being fully recuperated, and not still not being able to play, to when I'm finally being able to play, them asking me to play D tackle out of position. Like, and granted, I balled at D tackle like towards the end of the season. You know what I mean? I was player of the week a few times. We played Miami Beach my senior. We played Miami Beach in the first round of the playoffs my senior year in high school. I balled that game at D tackle. Was player of the game again at D tackle for that game. Then the very next week, we played Miami Central in the second round of the playoffs. We were winning, I think, like 35 to like 30, with like a minute left in the game. It came down to this one play where the quarterback ran to the right. Our defensive line collapsed the pocket. He was running away from them, and he cut back. And I had a mano squared up, and he curved outside, and he got past me, and the guy took up the field for 40 yards for a touchdown, and I won the game for them. But looking back on that play, I still to this day think about, man, I could have made that play. I just took a bad angle.
Yeah.
I took instead of going down a straight line, I tried to go straight to him. So, and we were so close. I still have that tape to this day. I replay that in my mind every single day. Like, man, if I would have just took a better angle, I could have made that play, and we could have went to the third round of playoffs. But yeah, you know, it doesn't happen. You know, I mean, at that point, you know, we got after that playoff game, we got back to school, and the coach asked, hey, you know, for the seniors, is there anything you want to say, you know, about your senior season, blah, 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 blah. For me, I was pissed. My senior season was in the tank. It was bullshit. You know what I mean? I did all the sacrificing for the team. I did all the sacrificing for the team that the coaches wanted, but they never rewarded me by having me play the position I was supposed to be playing, or by giving other players starting positions because of favoritism, because of their parents was donating to the program, touchdown club, all these different things. You know, looking back on it now, me and a couple former players on that team from my senior year and my junior year who are like me, we talk about that. Some of them starters, we talk about it. It's just like, we have no idea how some of these players started. We all look back and just like, it's because their families donated to the touchdown club, or because of this, or because of, you know what I mean? Certain different things, you know, it really wasn't the best player. It really was never the best players playing.
Yeah, and Palmetto's in the middle of Pinecrest, all type of nepotism and big money around it.
Exactly. So, you know, and for me, after my senior year, you know, the recruiting process was terrible. You know, my senior year, going into my senior year, I was being recruited by Syracuse and Illinois. Got some letters. So I'm like, okay, Syracuse and Illinois. The letters stopped because they didn't turn out the way I wanted to. I still got the letters too. They just never turned out the way I wanted it to turn out to. You know what I mean? UMass as well. A Division II school called DePauw, DEPAUW.
I think it's like Wisconsin somewhere, right?
Yeah, and then I think an NAIA school called William Penn College. So it was Illinois. Yeah, so it was Illinois, Syracuse, UMass, DePauw, William Penn College. And before my senior season, I had actually camped at the University of Miami.
Oh, nice.
And I got to see like, you know what I mean, like the players who played there and see like their strength records and see all this and that. And I'm like, man, I could actually play Division I because I'm seeing like their times and their records, and I'm like, man, I'm just as strong as some of these players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that kind of like gave me the like confidence to say, you know what, I think, man, I could play Division I like going into my senior season.
Yeah.
But then my senior season didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. But looking back on it though, for me, I would say the bright spot for me for my senior season, and it's sad to say this, I didn't have the senior season I wanted. For me, was the UM camp, the University of Miami camp, because I got to go up against big time recruits and big time players, and to see why I measured up to them. And I felt like, oh, I could hold my own. I could definitely hold my own. These guys, Miami may be recruiting them now because of what they did their junior year. That's because they played during their junior year. I didn't play. So at the camp, we had 3 massive recruits. One was on my team, actually. His name was Chris Myers. He was really, really good. He's a really good offensive lineman. Really, really good. Played at Miami. He actually ended up signing up with Miami. I think he played like 8-9 years in the NFL for the Houston Texans and for the Broncos.
Yeah.
He's a really good player. He was really good, really good player. He deserved everything he got because he was really good. And then at the camp, there was 2 linebackers. One name was Eric Moore. He ended up signing with Florida State to play defensive end. He was a starter. He was a starter, I think, for like 2 or 3 years in the early 2000s. Ended up getting drafted by the Giants. He ended up getting drafted by the Giants or the Rams, one of the two. Giants or Rams drafted him in like the 4th or 5th round in like 2004, I think. Yeah. And then there was another linebacker there named Carlton Baker. He ended up signing with Arkansas, but Florida and Miami wanted him. He was about my height. He was rocked up. He was fast too, man. He was short, but he was rocked up and he was fast. And he looked like a Division I linebacker. He was fast. The other guy, Eric Moore, he was a Perea All-American too. Eric Moore if you look back on him, Eric Moore was a Perea All-American. Looking at that camp, I saw that camp, and I'm just like, I don't know why he's just tall. I wasn't impressed by how he played. Obviously, looking back on it now, it's like, oh, well, he made the Florida State. He played in the league for a few years. But if you put people in the position to make plays, if you put people in the position to better themselves, they're going to do what they have to do it. I didn't receive that same kind of treatment at Palmetto. Put me in the position to better myself for my future. You know what I mean? So for me, the best part about my senior year was going to the UM camp, man. You know, my senior year in high school, it didn't pan out. My junior year, I didn't play because of Corey, and as expected, I wasn't going to play with Corey. He's good. He's one of the best linebackers to ever set foot in Miami-Dade County.
Yeah,
my sophomore year, I was ineligible, and my 9th grade year, I was in junior high. So
what's called? Did Corey ever make it to the NFL?
Nah, so he played at Florida State, I think for like 3 or 4 years, and then he ended up actually transferring down to FIU, and he finished out his career there.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was highly rated, man. Florida State really, really liked him, man. They was on him tough. I remember my junior year during training camp, during 2 days, my junior year, Florida State would come down there doing training camp to see him. I remember seeing Florida State, Auburn, Florida Scouts, Ohio State. They would just come down just to watch him doing practice. I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. I hope this is how it's going to be for my senior year. It wasn't. It was not like that my senior year.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? So besides Chris Myers and Cecil Sapp, any other players you went to, and Corey Collier, did any of the players you went to Palmetto with go D1 or make the NFL?
So my year, Corey's year, it was just Corey who went Division I to Florida State. Then my 10th grade year, it was Nick. It was Cecil that went to Colorado State. But our DBs that year, my 10th grade year, they were all fast. They were all big. That entire DB class should have went D1, but I don't think anybody had grades or SAT scores. Because I want to say 2 of them made the Miami-Dade Nike All-Star team to play against Broward County, the Dade Broward All-Star game.
Yeah,
2 of them, two of the DBs had made it, and they were highly recruited, but they just didn't have test scores. Mm-hmm. So it should have been like 4 or 5 players signed D1 my sophomore year. My junior year, Corey signed with Florida State, and then we had a defensive end that actually ended up signing with FAU that played a defensive end. My senior year, we only had Chris sign with University of Miami. Then we had an offensive lineman named Kevin Ketchum that signed with FAU. And then we had a wide receiver that signed with FAU as well. He was pretty fast. He was really good, a receiver. He didn't end up making it to FAU because of test scores, but he was really good. I felt like he could have made it. He could have made football a career because he was really fast and he could catch. But then the year after me, I said they had like 5 players go D1. Like and most of the guys in the year after me, I was really close to them. Mm-hmm. So we had 2 signed with FIU, 1 signed with Memphis, 1 signed with Missouri. So it was loaded. Those 2, I would say my 11th and 12th grade year, I would say for me was probably the golden age of Palmetto football. because my 12th grade year and then my boys, their 12th grade year, the year after me, we were like in the second, third round of the playoffs both years. And both years we lost to Miami Central. The first year I wasn't able to make the play because I took a wrong angle.
Yeah.
And the second year, our quarterback, we were winning with like 10 seconds left in the game. Our quarterback got the ball, hiked it, and he fumbled it, and it flew up in the air. And then a linebacker caught it and ran it back for a touchdown. And the linebacker was actually Ali Highsmith, who played with LSU. He signed with LSU like 2 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then come the full circle about Richmond Giants. My gosh, he's not going to, if he listens to this, he may not like this, but the head coach for the national championship Richmond Giants team 4 years ago was actually the quarterback for us the year after that fumbled the ball. Shoot. He was the head coach of Richmond Giants that won the championship. So, yeah, so me and him, I would say me and him kind of cost us to go further into the playoff. Because for me, I think my senior year and then their senior year, they could have went to the champion. They could have went to states. I think so. We were talented. We were very, very talented. You may not have saw it in the guys going D1. That's because a lot of guys didn't have grades, and a lot of guys went JUCO. A lot of guys went JUCO, including me. So, yeah.
What's called crazy. You saw Palmetto Golden Years. Last year, Palmetto could win a state title. In the semifinals, they lost. They were gonna kick a field goal and they got blocked for return.
Oh wow. So that goes to
they were one game away from Tallahassee.
Wow. So that goes to show you then. So 20 years ago, Palmetto was good. Chances to go to the States with me and then my boys the year after. And then 20 years later, again, they could have went last year and they got blocked. And you want to know what's crazy about the golden years for Palmetto was around Corey Collier, the father, and then second time was around Corey Collier Jr., the son.
That's crazy. That's deja vu right there.
Think about it, man. That's fate, ain't it?
Yeah, that's fate for real.
Yeah.
What was I say? Who was Palmetto's head coach at the time?
At the time, it was going into my 10th grade year, they fired the coach that year, and they brought in a new coach from Miami Beach High named Jim Kroll. He used to coach. He coached at Miami Beach, so he coached a lot of players in the NFL. Dave Towers, Chad Johnson, a lot of players at Beach High. But he was a good coach. I felt he was a good coach. I thought he was a fair coach. But I forgot who the former coach was. I really forgot his name. But I want to tell you a funny story. So the coach now for Palmetto, I think his name is Manusco.
Yeah, Manasco, Coach Manasco.
Coach Manasco, he's the player at Palmetto in the early 90s.
Oh, for real?
I think he did.
Oh, that's great.
The year before I got there, to Palmetto Senior High, he was a senior.
Oh, wow.
So everything is full circle. You see how 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say so. The first Tuesday in February 2000, National Signing Day. What was that day like for you?
It was brutal, man. Brutal. I had built up what I thought my senior year in high school would be, where I would be, the excitement, knowing how good of a player I knew I was, all these different things that I knew I could do. And then to see signing day come and me not signing with anybody and seeing the news and seeing, oh, player signed with this, player signed with that.
Yeah.
And this player may sign with this, and just saying all that, man, it was just brutal, man. It was, I would say for me, that was probably one of the low points in my football career. I would say mentally, I was going through it mentally, depressed a little bit. But yeah, it I would say for me, it just made my determination to show what I really could do if someone just gave me the chance and put me in the correct position to make plays. It just made my determination that much more harder, that much more resolved to say, you know what, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to ball out when I get that chance. Because to see players, my senior, seeing signing day, seeing Willis McGahee sign with Miami, John Vilma sign with Miami, Andre Johnson, Miami, a bunch of players, Willie Roberts, Miami, so and so going to Florida State, so and so doing this, like all these different players. And these are all players like who I played, who I saw from the field because I didn't play my senior year. Seeing them on the field and me saying like, man, if I can just play, man, I feel like I could do something, show something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it didn't pan out, man. It didn't work out. You know, it is what it is.
So that's senior year. What you played against Miami Beach? You played against Central. What other games did you play?
So what I actually played, so I started playing against Columbus.
Okay,
Columbus. I played against Miami Beach, Central, Columbus, Miami Beach, Central. Who else? Homestead. Who else? Oof. That's pretty much about it, man. I only played 4 games. 3-4 games, man.
Did any of those teams have kids that went D1 or make it to the league?
Let's see. Well, Central had Willis McGahee. They had an offensive lineman named Jonathan Colin that signed. This was major news. He had signed. If you Google his name, and if you Google his name, Jonathan Colin, and you Google signing day, he signed. It was all over the news. He signed with Miami the night before, but then faxed it in. But then on the day of signing day, he signed with the University of Florida.
Oh wow!
And Miami was saying, "Nope, you signed. We want you. We want you. We want you." And then Miami finally released him from a scholarship. And he ended up going to the University of Florida. And he ended up making like a big theatrical thing about it when he signed, like wearing the Miami hat, then throwing it off, and stepping on it and putting on a Florida hat. But Miami ultimately had the last laugh because Miami, the U, beat the shit out of Florida both years he played. So that year, so he signed with UF. With Central. Central also had a player sign, Willis McGahee signed with Miami too as well. They had a few other like wide receivers and DBs. They signed with like UCF, South Florida, stuff like that, and a few other like 1AA schools like that. Columbus, they had a really good running back, man. He was really, I would say for me, looking at it and playing against him, he's probably the best running back I've ever played against, and I've ever seen. A running back named Darryl Shepard. He was really cold, man, at Columbus. He was really, really good. He was highly recruited, should have went D1, but I don't think he had test scores. Okay. I think he ended up going to Marshall as a prop 48.
Yeah.
But every school was on him. Miami, Florida State, Michigan, USC. He was a big running back too. He was a Division I running back. He was like 6'1", like 215. Fast, big.
Yeah.
I played at Columbus. I think now he's a rapper now in Miami. He's a pretty good rapper. He can flow.
Yeah,
he can flow. He's a pretty good rapper.
You said his name is Darryl Shepard?
Darryl Shepard, yeah.
Okay.
He was good.
Did Columbus have anyone else?
Well, they had him. They may have had a few other players who may have went here and there. Miami Beach, they had a linebacker. The next year. He was a junior that year, but the next year he was an all-world recruit. He ended up signing with Florida State. He was small, but he was fast. He was more of a safety size. He was like 5'10", 5'11", 200 pounds, but he ran a 4.4.
Okay.
Yeah, he ended up signing with Florida State. He was a highly recruited player. Miami wanted him too, but he ended up signing with Florida State. So for me, that's about. And then, for the teams I didn't play, the games I didn't play, John Vilma. Obviously, everybody knows John Vilma.
Yeah.
Miami, the Saints, the Jets, Frank Gore. Everybody knows Frank Gore.
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame, a running back. Andre Johnson, Willis McGahee, Darryl Shepard. Southbridge had some players too. A lot of them didn't make it because of test scores.
Yeah.
Some of them went JUCO and then went Division I, but like Talib Humphrey, fullback, Willie Roberts, tight end, a bunch of offensive linemen, a bunch of linebackers, some DBs. I mean, they was loaded. They was loaded my senior year, and then the year after they was loaded. They had players too the year after me too. But they same problem, test score issues, man. Test scores. That's why I'm hoping the NCAA gets for the test scores and just allow these players to get into school, man. Because at the end of the day, what are they going to college for? To play football. Let's be real with it, man. They're not, education's good, but they really come into these schools to play football.
Yeah, for real. So tell me, what was it like playing Willis McGahee?
Well, he didn't play my senior because he tore his ACL. So he played the first
Wow.
four. He played the first, I want to say, 5 games of the season, and then he tore his ACL.
Dang.
And then after he tore his ACL, they went to that backup running back. I think his name is Antoine Lundy. He ended up balling. I think he ended up signing with, I want to say, South Florida or Western Michigan.
Okay.
He was pretty good. I remember playing against him the playoff game. He want to say he had probably like 200 yards rushing on us. But in football, and in high school football, it's easy to run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were kind of undersized.
That's really all it is in high school. Just running.
Yeah, we were kind of undersized too, because Central's entire offensive line was a minimum of 6'3", 260 pounds. That's massive in high school. That's massive.
Yeah, and Central to this day is still like an offensive line factory.
Yeah,
they still put hella offensive linemen.
Yeah, and then our D line was really me and one of my good friends till this day who ended up playing linebacker. They played him out of position too at Palmetto. But at least his senior year, they let him play linebacker. But me and him was the two biggest people on the defensive line. Both of us played D tackle. So and he was bigger than me. He was I want to say he was about 230, and I was about like 210, 215. We were like the two. No lie, we were the two heaviest people on the front seven of the defense. To be totally honest with you.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So we had to play D tackle. So Central, they ran the ball on us because when your O line's 260 and your two heaviest people is 230 and 215, you're gonna get a lot of yards rushing.
For real. Wait, who's the guy that played on D line? Yeah, close friend.
My boy Sean.
Okay, Sean.
Yeah, he ended up signing with FIU. He ended up signing with FIU, but he was recruited by I want to say Ole Miss, NC State, and I want to say I think UMass or UConn, but he ended up signing with FIU because he wanted to stay home. So that year, he signed with FIU, and then another one of my boys, he ended up signing with FIU too. He played linebacker too. He played linebacker my senior year. He was the other outside linebacker. He played weak side backer, and then his senior year he played weak side backer again. But he was really good. He was really, really good at weak side backer.
What was his name?
Gerard.
Okay, Gerard.
Yeah, he was really cool. He was really good, really, really good. So yeah, and he ended up signing with FIU too his senior year. Same thing. I think he had offers. I think he was recruited by NC State, Ole Miss, Pittsburgh, and FIU. But he wanted to stay home in Miami.
And this is back when NC State was like offering everybody in Miami.
They really were. Because at that time the head coach was Chuck Amato. Chuck Amato was the coach of Florida State, and he recruited Miami for Florida State.
Yeah.
So he went back to Miami for NC State.
Yeah. Shout out to Sean and Gerard. So after signing day, just winding down and ending your senior year of high school, like, are you rushing? Like, what are your college plans at this point?
At this point, my coach at the time, Crowley, he took me to like some like Division II, like a recruitment like type event, like where I got to meet like coaches and recruits from different Division II schools.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, and I said, man, I think I'm a better player than Division II, man. I just wasn't able to show it, and I played out of position. Like, if you're gonna, I play out of position. You didn't put me in the position to show how I could play. So it was kind of like lackadaisical, like, yeah, Division II, yeah, I'm not into that. And then, finally coach had asked me, hey, so Anthony, what do you want to do? Like what's your plan? What are you going to do? And I just told him like, yeah, I'm just going to go to Miami-Dade and then figure it out from there. So I went to Miami-Dade, man, my freshman year in college.
Dang.
Yeah.
So you graduate high school June of 2000. That summer, instead of preparing to go off to JUCO somewhere, going to D1 somewhere, what are you doing? You just at home playing PS1?
No, I'm playing PS2. I'm working. I'm working out. I'm staying ready. It's the main thing. I'm really, really staying ready. Staying ready, working out, conditioning, lifting, getting stronger, getting bigger, getting faster. And looking back on it now, and then looking back on it now too, I was an early graduate because I graduated high school when I was 17. But most people graduated when they were 18.
Yeah, I graduated 17 too.
Yeah. So looking back on it, my senior season should have really been the year after. when I was more developed and I was more like in set with age with my friends already. From my, you know what I mean? So yeah, and I was a young 17 when I played my senior year because I had just turned 17 when my senior year started. So I wasn't developed yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, at Miami-Dade, man, I just stayed ready, man. Worked out, got in shape, worked out, lift weights, work, that was it. Just continuing to say, you know what? Researching JUCOs. I'm gonna go to JUCO. And I'm gonna go to JUCO on my own. I made sure I got my tape for my high school senior year, whatever tape I had. And after that first year at Miami-Dade, I started sending out my tape to JUCOs. Like, hey, I want to play ball. I'm a safety / outside linebacker. You know what I mean? I can play both, but safety, outside linebacker. And I started getting like a lot of phone calls from coaches saying, yeah, we'll take a flyer on you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I went JUCO.
So you went to Miami-Dade fall of 2000 and spring 2001. Summer 2001. I guess you're just like in a holding pattern, just waiting to do something. Then
So
fall. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so the fall of 2001, I went to a JUCO called Middle Georgia College. Meanwhile, not knowing the whole NCAA rules, my Division I clock had started from Miami-Dade. I didn't know this at all. So my clock started. So my eligibility for Division I has already started, and I haven't played one down of Division I football yet. So my clock has started already. So I went to Middle Georgia College to play safety, was outside linebacker, and that first year, we must have had like 150 players on the team, man. We had more players than we had equipment.
Dang.
We had more lockers and we had more players than we had lockers. So players would be changing in the showers. Players would be changing like in the weight room. Like that's really how it was.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, man, how you gonna recruit me to come up here? And you got 150 players up here, man. This ain't safe. Like, I can't do this, man. So I went to training camp with them, and I balled, man. I was balling. I played outside linebacker and safety. If you went a 3-4, so I played outside linebacker and I played safety. And then sometimes they would move me in the middle, and I played middle sometimes. So I was doing it all. And our coach at the time, our defensive coordinator at the time, I want to say his name was Jim Marcellus, and he loved to run man coverage. So we just ran man. So you had to be in shape. He used to run you, boy. After practice, he used to run you. Especially doing 2-a-day practice. You really don't have any conditioning because it's 2-a-day practices. But for 2-a-day practices for him, he would run us because he wants to be in shape. It didn't work out the way I wanted to, man. I just felt it was unsafe. We just had too many people. I would get in with the first team sometime. I would get in with the second team, and then I would get in with the third team. And I just it's just too much going on, man. So I just fell off the team. I just said, I'm gonna just finish this year out, and then just transfer to a JUCO out in California. And then as it would happen, something was rumbling behind the scenes because we could see the head coach and our DC will be fighting, like verbally fighting in practice. And the athletic director will come on the field sometime and he would be talking to the head coach about stuff. He was like, something's going on.
Yeah.
So that year ends, and I'm still thinking like, okay, maybe I'll come back and finish out this 1 year here and then go Division I from Middle Georgia College. Because they sent players Division I, because that year they sent a guy to Cincinnati, and we had that Middle Georgia team. We had a lot of bounce backs. We had a lot of bounce backs and guys who signed with like big time SEC programs at high school that played with me. We had some major talent on that team.
Yeah,
a lot of guys from Florida too. So
quick question.
Springtime comes and they cancel the program.
Oh wow. Dang. That's crazy. So question. I got 2 questions for you about Middle Georgia. So like I had a question about like JUCO football players. Like while you're up there on Middle Georgia, that was in Macon, right?
No, that was in Cochran.
Cochran? Oh, Cochran.
Cochran, yeah.
Okay. I have a question. What was the living situation like?
Stayed in the dorm.
Oh, they had dorms for y'all?
They had dorms for us. Yeah, they had dorms.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. And my second question is, for all of 2001, that was when 9/11 happened. Where were you when 9/11 happened?
Man, I was sleeping,
Mhm.
and my roommate he had class early in the morning, and when he came back in from class, he would always turn on the TV because I had a TV, but the TV was on my side, so I was sleeping, and he came in and turned the TV on, and he was watching for about 10 minutes, and then he tapped me and woke me. He woke me up. He was like, "Yo, Ed, I mean, you see this, man? This is crazy." I'm like, "What do you mean?" So I turned over and he shows me, and it's like the building's on fire. I'm like, "Yo, that's the World Trade Center. What happened?" He was just like, "Yo, a plane flew into it."
Hey.
And as we're watching it, we see another plane in the live feed flying towards the building, and we're like, "Yo, what's that?" And then it hits the second tower, and I'm never ever gonna forget that day, man. It was a very sad, solemn day. Yeah, it was tough.
Rest in peace,
It was
all
a tough day.
victims of 9/11.
Yeah, it was a tough day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, another question. Why you at Middle Georgia College? What players do you know of that went D1 made it to the NFL?
I don't think there's any players that made it division. NFL. We had a lot of players that ended up going D1. One signed with Cincinnati. One signed with what did Gary sign with? I want to say Gary signed with Mizzou. We had another player signed with Colorado, a DB.
Okay.
And we had another player, I think, signed with Coastal Carolina.
Okay.
I would say for me, as far as corners go, just corners. The two best cover corners I've played with has been at Middle Georgia College.
Oh wow.
One guy was named Chris, and he was a smaller corner, like 5'9"-ish, 180, but super quick, fast, man cover. Then we had another corner named Josh. He was the bigger corner. He was like 6 foot, like 190, 200 pounds. He was cold, man. Those two guys, seeing them play every day in practice and seeing what they could do, I'm like, yo, ain't no way in hell these guys ain't going to the league. They're about to go big time Division I, which is what they did. And they just never panned out.
Damn. What school did they go to?
I think one went to Coastal Carolina, and I think one went to Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. The other one, Chris, I think Chris went to Coastal Carolina, and he really should have went to Georgia, UGA, but grades problem. And then Josh, you know what? I don't think he went to Colorado. I think he had grade problems too. Grades, man. Grades. And then we had a D tackle. I think the sign was South Carolina. He was huge, like 6'5", like 330, that could move. He was our nose guard, not 3'4". He was huge. He was a beast.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. So,
can you hold on a sec? Can you pause it?